Hello, interns and site supervisors. I'm sorry that we're having this training via this platform, but thank you so much for going through and taking time to go through each item. This is planning for success during your internship or practicum experience. We're so glad that you're here in Cobb County Schools. Of course, if you have any questions, you are always welcome to consult with your site supervisor or reach out to me directly. Here's our agenda for the training. We would naturally be doing introductions. I'll introduce myself to you again. I am Missy Marsh, and I'm the supervisor of school counseling, advisement, and crisis response. We're going to be going through some expectations. I'm going to review some scenarios with you, and then I have some information specifically for our site supervisors as well. I just want to touch on some Cobb County requirements. Most of these align specifically with those of your university, although they might vary slightly. If you are completing your practicum with us, it's important to note that we have a minimum of 100 hours and a minimum of 40 hours must be in direct service. So think of those as when you are eyeball to eyeball with your students. It's also critical that you have professional liability insurance. This might be provided by your university, or it might be something that you have through a membership with a professional organization. If you are completing your internship with us, it would be a minimum of 600 hours. That could be spread over 2 semesters, and a minimum of 240 of those hours must be direct service. Again, eyeball to eyeball with our students, and again, having that professional liability insurance. A few of our Cobb County logistics. At this point, you should each have your Cobb County email, and that will be the method that we will be communicating with you. If you're having any issues with your Cobb County email, please let me know immediately. Again, as this is the mode of communication during your internship or practicum. You should also have access to Teams during your practicum and internship. You should already have access to OnTrack for your building, and you should have a badge for your school as well. If any of these are problematic at this point, again, please reach out to me directly so that we can get it resolved as quickly as possible. Now, one of the questions that I get quite frequently is about Synergy or about Naviance or other access that might happen in your building. And as a practicum student or an intern, you do not have access to anything other than email and OnTrack. So those are the only access points that you have as a graduate student. It's important to note during this time of COVID that you might be working in the building, and we hope that you are, but there might be times of transition where you might be working virtually, and it's important that you are always in communication with your site supervisor. So if your school transitions to a virtual platform, then you will also transition to a virtual platform. You will be doing whatever your site supervisor is doing. We've been able to do this in the previous years, so our school counselors are well versed on how to support you through any transition process. Just a reminder about professional conduct. I do not anticipate this to be a problem, But as an educator, you should always maintain the highest form of professional relationships with all students, and that is both inside and outside of the classroom. You need to make sure that you are very careful with what you say and do on social media when you are out in the public, as you are now a representative not only of yourself and of your university, but also of the Cobb County School District. And at the end of the day, you want to be gainfully employed, hopefully by Cobb County in the future. So please ensure that you are always maintaining professional relationships. And if you have any questions about what that means, again, always consult with your site supervisor or with myself. I regret that in this platform, we are not able to have a more in-depth conversation about this because it does usually lead to some very lively conversation. So here are some things that I just want you to think about. And it's important to review all of the items that you signed on your forms with human resources. What can get you hired, but also what can get you fired? So there are many items that you have agreed to as a Cobb County intern and practicum student that could be very helpful for you as long as you stay in the clear. There are also many items in there that you have agreed to as a practicum student or intern that could ensure that you are not hired in the future. So it is very important that you go through each one of those items. Some of them include items such as alcohol and drug use. A question might occur, can you accept a bottle of wine from a family as a holiday gift? Any thoughts? The answer would be no, you cannot. You cannot have that on campus. That would be a violation of the policy. So those are some of the things that you want to go through and ensure that you review. It's very important that you also review the social media policy. Who you portray on social media is critical to you being hired or you potentially being fired. So again, go through each one of those policies that you have signed off on, and if you have any questions, consult with your site supervisor or myself. We want you to have a wonderful experience as a graduate student in Cobb County. Here are some things that you can do to plan for a successful year. Make sure that you have a plan. You don't just want to come to a school each day and not know what your intentions are. What do you want to accomplish? What are your goals? What kind of an outcome are you expecting at the end of the semester or at the end of the year? Make sure that you show initiative. Do not wait for your site supervisor to ask you to do the work. You want to make sure that you're building relationships with students, with staff, with administration. It's important that you take the initiative. Step outside of your comfort zone. This is the time to try things that you might not do and that you might not have the opportunity to do once you have a job. So take chances, take risks, fail. It's okay. This is a safe environment, and then learn how to correct your mistakes. Communicate. It is so important that you are constantly communicating not only with your university, but also with your site supervisor. You cannot over-communicate. So make sure that you're having those good conversations, having support, and also ensuring what those goals are. Create a resource collection. This is your opportunity to build your toolbox. So take as many resources as you can, put them in your toolbox, and prepare for any level that you might be working at the future. You don't know, you might be in elementary school now, but you might end up with a job in high school. So collect those resources for every single level. And then finally, prepare for employment. You want to expose yourself to every opportunity, even some of those that are not specifically counseling related. You need to see what it looks like to attend and perhaps lead a 504 meeting. The rationale is when you go to an interview, a principal might ask you a question about that. So expose yourself to all opportunities so that you are prepared for employment. Thank you again for choosing Cobb County, and I appreciate your time. Site supervisors, just a few reminders for you. As you're supervising your intern and graduate student, the first thing that you need to remember is that you're actually protecting the welfare of our Cobb County students. So we need to ensure that everything that we do is to protect our Cobb County students. Do not release your interns and practicum students on their own too soon. We need to release them slowly and with support. If you have any questions about that, make sure that you let me know. Your role is to facilitate the growth of your intern. So again, this needs to be a slow and steady growth, and you need to ensure that you are monitoring that growth at all stages and providing feedback. If at any stage you have concerns, let me know immediately. It is your job to identify, confront, and give corrective feedback to your intern. I know that this can be challenging for you, but we need to ensure that we are providing the corrective feedback that is necessary to help our students grow. If we do not give them feedback, they cannot become the best counselor that is possible. So you need to have that ongoing supervision and the ongoing comments and commentary to go along with that. Provide ongoing support and communication. Just as I told the interns, you cannot over-communicate. It is your job to support them and communicate with them constantly about what you're doing and why you're doing it. Help them to understand your role and your decision making. I cannot thank you enough for taking on this role as a site supervisor. I am here to support you, and I will be coming out to schedule observations of your interns in the near future. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.